All this said, and you're very plain in the criticism that you have about how this all came out, the severity of it, and what the ramifications might be. You're more net long now than you were prior, and you've added to some long positions, including, I'm told, Nvidia, which is ugly today and has not traded well at all lately. Why was this the moment to add to that stock?
True. The semiconductor index is down 20%. Nvidia, as you know, is down from, I think, a peak this year at 150. So this stock's down by a third. Remember, we entered today in kind of bomb shelter positioning. We had puts on the NASDAQ. We had tremendous number of shorts. We're sitting in a lot of cash. We only had 50% of our long book even positioned in the market. So we're dramatically outperforming on a day like today. So we're going from the bomb shelter to simply, our safety positioning. And that means adding about 15% of net exposure. And we're adding it in the areas that we believe we're continuing to see secular growth. And as you know, the growth and the demand for GPUs is off the charts. You hear it from OpenAI, you hear it from Google, you hear it from Elon, you hear it from others. I know there's a debate about that, but that's the side of the debate that we're on. And then although we saw these tariffs announced yesterday, we also saw a list of exceptions. And one of the list of exceptions, wise exception, is semiconductors. And I think the reason that semiconductors are being accepted is because for us to charge a tariff on our own chips, right, which are fabricated in Taiwan because they can't be fabricated in the United States, we don't have the fabs yet. TSMC, who he mentioned in his speech yesterday, has committed to massive investments as a result of the president's policy in Arizona to build cutting-edge fabs. But right now he gave them an exception because we know if we increase the cost of these chips that we design to our own companies like Meta, like Google, like Microsoft, like OpenAI, we're only shooting ourselves, right? Because we're in a global race in AI. We can't hamper our ability to win that race. And so I think that was a wise decision to put them on the exception list. I'm sure he's going to keep an eye on whether or not the fabs are being built in Arizona. But I think we're going to net end up in a much better place in terms of our global supply chain as a result of these decisions. But that's the reason we're buying Nvidia today. We think the demand is off the charts. We think the negative impact from tariffs is going to be much less than in other areas. But listen, if we end up in the teeth of a recession, then even Nvidia at 18 or 19 times earnings might not perform that well. Like, we need to avoid a recession in this country. I think it's very bad if we find ourselves in the fall in a recession, and we're heading into the midterm elections in 2026. I don't think the president, the administration, or Congress want to risk a recession, toward the end of this year.
We'll take a quick break, Brad, if you don't mind. We'll come back with you in a couple minutes, continue our conversation with Brad Gerstner right after this.